Yo, what is good, everybody? I hope you all enjoyed the long weekend. For me, I spent my weekend volunteering, building a home through Habitats for Humanity, and some time with some family for Easter. And the weather's been clearing up, so I spent a lot of time outside, just enjoying the air. So, today's video, it's pretty straightforward. We're looking for a drop in the market, but there's there might be a complication, minor complication to kind of just throw off some traders before getting that drop. So that's what we're going to talk about, and we're just going to get into it. So make sure to show the video some love, give it a like and subscribe, and let's get into it. So to start off, we got oil here. Last week, or in last week's video, I was talking about how we got the breakout we were looking for, but the momentum wasn't really supporting the move, which I found really interesting. Because this that kind of told me that that might not be the actual move or like the actual breakout. That could be a fake breakout, and we rip all the way to the other side. And that's kind of what's been happening here. So really interesting. If you go back to my last week's video, I talked about this divergence here, and I said, even though we got this breakdown, momentum isn't supporting it. So we might rip all the way back to the upside, and what do you know? We got some surprise production cuts from these third world countries, such as Saudi Arabia, which just rocketed the price of oil up. So, if you want to read this, pause the video, read that. But, very interesting. So, this could be moving to the upside, and it is not breaking back under 80, which I've been kind of. So, originally, I was looking for this move up, and I was going to short it back down. But the fundamental reason for this moving up kind of shifts what I originally thought of how this would move back down. So this might kind of like synthetically hold the price above 80, which it's been doing this for a couple days now. It's just not coming back down. You got a big gap here, which will get filled in the future. It will come back down to 75, 74, whatever this gap is. But for the time being, it's holding up well. So really interesting. The big area is that 83, 84 area. If you get above that, you're going above the 90s. You're getting into the 90s, and you can easily push into the hundreds. So it's really like being a slow mover here. It's been sideways for months, since like November. Um, yeah, it's been a painful waiting game, but uh, we might finally have something that's going to get us to just slowly move up over time. So I want to see what it does over the next few days. If it does manage to fill that gap, but 80 is really just kind of a floor right now. So we'll see what it does. If we get another push, we might correct from there, as this is like a fourth wave. But other than that, it's kind of tricky to say. So we're just gonna give it a few days to kind of see what it does, if it can break through 80 or not. Okay, so moving on to natural gas here. Natural gas again, kind of being a pain, slow mover along with oil here. But what's interesting is that it really might be bottoming. It's been staying flat for kind of a while. We had like kind of like a first attempt at moving back up to the upside, but ultimately came back down. But the important thing is that it's holding above this low. So that's telling me that bulls are really kind of trying here. They're trying to build a floor, they're trying to build supports, and I believe on the weekly and daily we have divergences um, with our momentum. So the weekly doesn't really tell us much, but well, um, in terms of you'll see what I'm talking about. So with the weekly, what the weekly is telling us is that we might finally have a major shift in momentum. So really keep an eye on this thing. You could see a crazy move to the upside. Um, yeah, if that passes through, the histogram goes green, you could see a really nice move up. And that's just from the weekly MACD. With the daily MACD, this is what I was talking about with the momentum just kind of staying up to the upside here. Uh, this is different than the weekly. So this has just kind of been showing that the momentum isn't supporting the bears here anymore. On the way down, this was horrific. Like it just kept falling. But now there's definitely a change in momentum here. So this could be building a floor. Really, I think all that matters is that it holds that low. I would not really want to see this, but maybe it could do something where it comes down, breaks the low, traps a lot of people, and then rips. I would hate to see that, um, but we'll have to see. It's really holding here if you can get back above this region here. As you can see, it's been really holding as kind of a ceiling. If you can get above that, uh, we could see another attempt at the upside. So keep an eye on natural gas for a move to the upside. If it breaks these like lows down here, be cautious. US dollar. This channel we talked about in last week's video, kind of attempted to break to the upside here, and I'm not sure if it's broken out yet, but if it does, you could see a nice quick move to the upside. So it could come back down into this channel, but things really don't stay in channels for too long. It's not like this infinite, like you just keep going down on the channel. It can only last for so long. So if it comes back down here, I would expect another attempt pretty shortly after that. Apple, very interesting here. We got this crazy wedge. This is going to come down soon. Maybe not soon, but this will come down eventually. It's been a really painful kind of like waiting process across the entire market, especially with semis, which we'll get to pretty shortly. But like Nvidia, that thing just does not stop going up, and it's not just like a parabolic move, just this really slow, just like 40 cents a day kind of thing. It's not really going up at a crazy rate, but it's just slowly but surely going up. So it's not fun. I really want to catch a short on these like big names, especially Nvidia, but I think a lot of people are, which is kind of the problem here. So I'm being patient, but the opportunity is going to come along. So for Apple here, we got my target at that gap fill. That's what we were talking about when we were down here in the 120s, and we got up to here, and now I'm just kind of waiting for what it wants to do here. And if you remember that scenario I gave last week, which was that C wave up, so that would take us to around the mid 170s. So that would be a very interesting scenario in which we really see a crazy melt up, and I would guarantee you once we get up here, all these people are going to start talking about all-time highs, and that's when it's going to get absolutely destroyed. Right when retail starts calling for those all-time highs, it's going to get obliterated. Retail is like so atrocious at trading. They're so bad at time in the market. Whenever we start getting towards those highs, that's when they start going long, and vice versa. So if we get up to the 170s, I would really be looking to short up there, especially that's kind of the last supply zone too. We'll just have to see what it does this week. I think this week might really not have too much direction for these kind of names, but I think this week will be a good week to kind of let things find a direction and settle a little. I don't really see anything happening immediately just because it's not testing these supports like right now, but it definitely could. I don't see that yet. This is a daily chart, and it's a few days away from this line if it continues to go sideways. So we'll have to see. I think this is a smart week to be patient, except for Wednesday, which I guess I'll just pull that up quick. We have some interesting catalyst on Wednesday. We got some inflation numbers and FOMC minutes. So, and then it's also following up with PPI the next morning. So, yeah, Wednesday and Thursday are gonna be specifically Wednesday is going to be a pretty volatile day. So we could get a massive move on Wednesday. I'm not sure about tomorrow. Nothing really important tomorrow. So we'll see. Market might just be sideways until then. but we're just gonna keep going. So Tesla here. Um, this it's kind of drifting sideways. So I in the bigger picture, I'm looking for near 300 or like 260 for that gap. But uh, the way this develops, so from here, what we were looking for was that ABC structure, like this, and then we're gonna get that gap fill. But that's not what happened. We came back up to the upside, and then we came back down. So this is starting to look kind of like a sideways development, like a triangle or something. So in that case, A, B, C, D, E, what you would see is one more move to the upside of this triangle. So you have your A touch, your B touch, C, D, E. The D touch, or the E touch is that final touch. Then it breaks down to the opposite side. So that it's really kind of looking like a triangle to me. I'm not completely certain yet. I would probably like to see a little more of like some movement to the upside to confirm that this is like the bottom for this area. But really the big thing to watch is that upper line and the gap. Those are the biggest thing I'm watching right now is these two lines. So again, Tesla, kind of like Apple, might just need some time to kind of develop, find the structure and all of that. So onto Amazon. So big wedge here. I talked about this a little bit in the Discord where Amazon might be headed for near 140, and this is because of this wedge here. Wedges are my favorite structures to play. They're very, very, very consistent, and they play out very quickly. The breakouts are very violent, especially the breakdowns. I would say rising wedges are more consistent, and they play out quicker than falling wedges. So I would prefer falling wedges over rising wedges, just in general, but if this plays out, this is moving very, very, very likely going to 130 to 140 because there's a lot of confluence up here. You have gaps to fill. You have this golden pocket up here. Let's take a look at the volume node. So you could easily move up to 150. A few weeks ago I talked about this volume gap. Once you get over like 124, 125, it's a straight shot to 150. There's no resistance or supply zones in this region. So it's gonna be interesting to see how this plays out if it's gonna get up to that 130 to 140 region. So I think I would be biased to the upside on Amazon. The only thing it really needs is just general market strength. So Amazon alone looks pretty strong to me. I think I'm ultimately looking for 130 to 140 on Amazon. Biotech, not too much to say. Really not too much to say. It could get a move back up and just kind of like fill in the gaps that it had from this move down here. And what I mean by these gaps are like these really sharp moves down here. These areas of illiquidity. These get filled. These always get filled. I think I want to kind of find a good example of this. Let's go to natural gas. I think I could see something on here. So, a quick kind of like detour from what we're talking about. So these are these areas of illiquidity where it's just a straight move up. There's no consolidation during these moves. These always tend to come back down and just kind of fill those gaps. So, that's kind of what we have on biotech with this move down here. So maybe we come back up and just kind of fill these regions, but it might take a little bit. I'm not sure, maybe we come back up and hit this. So I don't really think there's too much to say for biotech. We're just going to watch it for a little bit. Semis. Testing the bottom line here. Semis really, really freaking slow. It's killing me. It's been sideways since January pretty much. All that matters is this zone here. If we start breaking into this, it's very likely we're going to new lows here. But if we hold it, we could go to 500, and I would take the biggest short I've ever taken in my years of trading. So just the waiting game. It's just the waiting game. We'll see what it does with this trend line here. Very crucial support line here. If we break under it, we're going to be coming back down, test that region, and then we'll see what it does down there. VIX testing really crucial support zone. So this is kind of where you'd expect it to bottom, and if it doesn't, it's going to be kind of interesting. If VIX just kind of breaks that important level, which is around like the lower 18s, but yeah, really interesting. I'm not too sure what to say about this. We'll see if this holds. If it doesn't, you could see some pretty nasty bleeding, I think. So, simple as that. Just be watching to see if it holds that 18, I think precisely that like 1830 zone. And if it doesn't, you could see some pretty nice downside. So, under this, really, it's going to have to hold this. And I think what the bulls would need to see if it breaks down is like an immediate bounce back up above this support. So if not, I think it's going to bleed down. That's what I'd be expecting. So on to SPY, we're looking for this drop, but it's really stalling. It's kind of being a pain here, just like everything else in the market right now. So we're looking for this drop, but it managed to do like this triple bottom here kind of, which you don't really see that too often. And this kind of surprised me. I was expecting, considering we had a gap down this morning, and a kind of a considerable gap down. This was like a $3-4 gap down, so pretty decent gap. It wanted to fill it, so that's what was prioritized. But yeah, unfortunately, if we didn't have that gap down, I would have been looking for that immediate move to the downside, I think. But the gap kind of switched it up a little, and it had to fill it. So now there's pretty much 3 scenarios. Yeah, there's only 3 scenarios here. So this is the general move I'm looking for. A, B, C down into this zone, and then we get a bounce up, back into this area actually, and then actually what we can, so my target is like 40, 50, 40, 60, so it would come back right around to this golden pocket very likely, or the 50%, and then resume to the downside. But so this is what I'm looking for. So after that, there's a couple scenarios, but right now I want to keep it simple. So this is the general thing I'm looking for. I've been short since I started scaling the shorts around here, and I think my average is like it's somewhere around here. So I'm like around break even, and if we get down to 40-50, I'm gonna close those shorts and go long. But the bigger picture here, so I think I'm going to show you the Elliott wave scenarios, and then just kind of draw out this triangle that I'm looking at. So the shorter term, what we have here is this is either an ABC right here, and we're going to just get a little above this, probably hit this trend line one more time, which kind of makes sense at this point. Hit that trend line and then come down, or we've already corrected. This is our ABC right here. ABC. It's a little ugly, but this looks really corrective to me. There's not really anything impulsive about this. It's just kind of slow. You don't really see any 5-wave counts to the upside. So as long as we stay below this high, this might be wave 2 of this development to the downside. So wave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's what this scenario would look like. And then there's also a scenario where we have one more high to make. So if we breach like this region right here, this would invalidate this scenario. This C wave really, there's not too much leeway you can give this. So I would say like once you start getting above 41 like 55, 41.55, it starts looking like it's going to want to make one more high before it corrects. So zooming out a little bit, this 5-wave count, what I would be looking at would be something like this. So you come back up here, you make one more high, and then you drop. So really, all of these scenarios are looking at a drop, just with the potential for all of these like minor complications, I guess you could say. So I would prefer, I, I'm my preference is that we either get this direct move, so we don't get that high, which I don't think is that unlikely, but my preferred scenarios are either this, we get that one more high. I would like to see that trend line get hit, to be honest, and then drop, or it's directly down from here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, into that zone where I close my shorts and go long. Um, those are my preferred scenarios. So now what I was talking about this triangle, this is kind of the macro pattern I'm looking at. So I think it might be, let me look on ES. So it might be clearer on SPY than ES. I just kind of have to take a look quick. So yeah, actually no, it is clear on here. So this could be a major triangle. So what you would see is a move all the way back down to this level here, and then you either break out to the upside. Like this is going to make an insane breakout once this happens. So this is kind of like, it's not cooperating with me. Okay, so this is very likely an enormous triangle. I don't know if we've ever had a triangle like this, like ever. So when this breaks out, the move it's going to produce is going to be extraordinary. So that move, I don't think I have a bias. It can either send us below 300 on SPY, it would send us below 300 on SPY, or it would be sending us to like 440, 450 on SPY. And I don't think we could really see some sort of historical melt up that takes us above that high, like the all-time high, and then we see correction down into the 200s. But we're not going to focus that far out yet. What we're really looking for is a move down to this trend line here, and then a bounce, which, you know, I think might be pointing to the upside of this triangle, but we'll see. We'll see. So again, just those scenarios we're looking at. On the shorter term, we're looking for pretty much everything point to the downside. It's just, it has these minor complications where it might do that. So that's where I'm going to keep this video. I really don't have too much else to say. Wednesday should be a very volatile day. So that should make some major moves in the market, probably give some stocks directions once the market kind of has an idea for what the Fed wants to do from here. So make sure to show the video some love if you watched the whole thing through. Give it a like and subscribe, and peace out, guys.